Hi everybody. So, welcome to Not Your Normal Nerding. I think on the most part, one of the things people don't realize is my videos, channels, entertainment. Yes, it is unscripted. So don't expect me to follow any course of pattern or organization, whatever it might be. Like anything else, everybody has their own way of doing things. And this, I guess, works for me because, surprisingly enough, there are people who, for some reason, watch these clips that I produce. Yeah, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time post-production, so forth as well too. If you have any questions or so, or wonder how it all works or so, let's look at my intro video. It's like 6 minutes long. Yeah, they're all really long compared to what most YouTube entertainment is. Reason why is because it's for people who want to learn stuff, not for just pure entertainment. And that's the key thing is, like, if you watch a 3-minute clip, that's for entertainment. Somebody doing something stupid for your entertainment, reality TV entertainment, whatever you want to call it. Well, yeah, this can be entertaining because one of the comments that I have is that I don't keep my hands still. Well, I'm just going to say it this way. There are not a bunch of pretty women. There's not a bunch of flashy background. There's no major action. It's just me sitting at a desk discussing something. You could probably do the same thing in a podcast. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about value and how people value things. And we'll talk about the important side of it, of value as well too. So you think about, let's start off with the dollar bill. We value the dollar bill for $1. Well, what does that mean? It means that you can buy a certain amount of apples with them, or a certain amount of candy bars with them. So we'll use the example. $1 buys you a pound of apples. So that's what you value the dollar as. So let's go to, let's just say, another country, and they have apples as well too. Well, when you look at the value of $1 in another country, you exchange it over to that particular country's currency. Well, maybe that dollar you can buy 2 pounds of apples instead. So you have more value in this other country for your dollar than you do in the U.S. And U.S. has a certain amount of value to the dollar. Now let's look at, that's how money is valued overall. That's how you can compare things. If you look at the cost of something here versus the cost of something there, you will find that the dollar is valued differently in different countries. I was born in Vietnam, so if you think about it, $1 American dollar, about 20,000 Vietnamese dollars. Well, that doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't have anything to compare to. Numbers, wow, you have 20,000 Vietnamese dollars. Yeah, it's a big number, but what does it mean overall? Well, if you look at the equivalency of an apple over in Vietnam, well, what does that mean? A pound of apples here for $1 would be like, you would get about 3.5, maybe 4 pounds of apples over in Vietnam for the same dollar. Of course, in Vietnam, they don't have our kind of apples. They have other kinds of apples. But that's how you look at it. That means, you know, the value of the Vietnamese dollar, there's more value to the American dollar than the Vietnamese dollars, because you have to spend 5,000 of those Vietnamese dollars to buy 1 pound of apples. But in the sense, the exchange or so for your value of the dollar, you can buy so much more in Vietnam. People value things. People look at value very, very differently. So when you look at each person's perspective, and once again, the whole point of this channel is to look at a different perspective than what you're used to to looking at or understand a perspective that may be different than what the normal people or the average person sees as value. When it comes to how people value friendship, it is something that's not tangible, something that you can't touch. Well, what defines a friendship first? So if you look at a friendship, there's people have a different perspective of what they call a friend. You think of Facebook. You friend somebody on Facebook. Well, that friend means they're part of your group collective of people. But of those groups, those collective of people, who do you actually define as a friend? Well, you have to have a definition of a friend. A friend is, and I'll use my example, is a friend is somebody that I have a level of trust and respect for. So a lot of people will friend people that they work with. How do you build trust and respect? You build trust and respect over time. Oh, I just met this person at work, they seem cool. You spend 30 minutes with them or so, and you friend them. Well, if that's somebody's definition of friend, okay, so be it. When I look at people I define as my friends, they are people that I trust, people that I can rely on, otherwise they're reliable. And the test of reliability is very simple. If I end up in jail and I call a friend of mine and says, it's not my fault, that's all they need to know, and they will come get me out of jail. To be able to have people like that, let's look at your friends on Facebook or so. How many of those people on there can you say that would do that for you? On my list of friends, yeah, I have more than what I would expect, but I know who my friends are. Everyone else to me is an acquaintance or a colleague. The people I work with are not necessarily my friends. I'm a friendly person, I'm nice to them, but that doesn't mean that I would ever call them to get me out of jail, to help me in a bad situation or in a situation that I need help. Those are the people that I rely on. Those are what I classify. Those are how I define friendship, are those people that is similar to a marriage, through the good times and the bad. The difference is it's not like everything else is not a permanent thing, but it's not a marriage. A marriage is somebody that you will not only do the thick and thin with, but also the only person that you define as someone you love, supposedly, as well too. Friendships are intimate relationships, but that's how you look at the value, is how do you value it? My value is this type of person who's willing to do this. I value them as a friend. Now, if you think about friends or so, everybody defines a best friend, which means the number one friend that you have that is very close to you, you're willing to tell secrets to, you have an utmost level of trust and respect, and bottom line is they are kind of like your shadow. They're always there for you. Shadows aren't necessarily behind people, but ultimately that's the key thing, is the shadow is always there for you. With a difference in the fact that you have such a high level of trust and respect. A lot of people will call 3 people their best friend. That doesn't make any sense. You can only have one best friend. That's why it's called the best. Number one, numero uno. So there's only one such thing as a best friend. If you have a lot of really, really close friends, okay, then you might have a group of friends that are extremely intimate with you, extremely in confidence with you, that you trust and respect the most. And let's just say 3 of them, and all 3 of them equivalently you trust them, you're willing to tell the same thing to them. Well, it doesn't mean that all 3 of them are your best friend. There's still only one best friend. It's just a lot of people just decide to say, hey, these 3 are my best friends. That's really not a good way of looking at valuing friendship. Because It takes the honor, the privilege of being someone of that level of importance away from that one particular person. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's just a thing. It doesn't really matter in the long run how people define it. It's just a perspective. Now let's look at something else. How people define their world and where they stand in their world. So what is the most important thing that people value? Some people value their health and well-being. Some people value money. People who value money, they're very greedy. They'll continue to hoard and take and work to build a humongous amount of money. Money has a lot of value. Everyone wants to be rich, and that's okay. That's not anything bad, but that's their value. That's what they value the most, is how much money they have, what they can do with their money. Some people value something different. Power. No, we're not talking about electricity. We're talking about the ability to be a person who gets things done just because they stand in a particular position. Think of power like this. I want to move a mountain, and I build a level of respect, empowerment in a group of people. And because I want to move a mountain, those people all of a sudden help me to move that mountain. And they're empowered to do it just because I have that level of trust, respect, encouragement, empowerment for them. That's power. That's the ability to do something. Not necessarily you have to do it, but you can get others to do it. It's a very powerful thing. Money is powerful as well too. If you pay somebody to drive you somewhere, they'll do it. Money has a little bit of power. Now the question is, yeah, you can go just about anywhere, but it depends on how much money you're willing to give. So if you want to travel a block from here, you might only need the power of $2. Let's change that to something else. A block from here, in the middle of a blizzard that's causing the wind chill to be a minus 30 degree wind chill factor. $2 is not going to get you that block. You're going to have to be more powerful, more persuasive. So that $2, you might have to pay $40 to go to the same block. Well, money's powerful so long as you have it. Now imagine having that much power without having a single dollar. That's more powerful. I look at power as something that's stronger, that's more resilient and capable of doing so much more than money is capable of doing. Yeah, $1 billion, if you have $1 billion, you can do quite a bit. But that doesn't mean $1 billion is going to get 100 people to be willing to give up their life for your cause or for you. You can't buy human lives with money. You can rent it, but you can't buy it. Power is the only thing people will be willing to die for. Somebody very, very powerful. Think of Alexander the Great. Or what do you call them? The Spartans. What did they die for? They didn't die for money. They didn't die because they were getting paid to wage a war or to defend their country, defend their way of life. It wasn't about money, so nobody could pay for their lives or give them something so that they would not stop fighting. That's the gist of power. Now let's talk about the value of all of that. Well, if $1 billion could buy you 5 people's lives, okay, and that's what $1 billion is willing to. How much value is in $1 billion? Or it could buy you a very, very expensive 787, or it can buy you a skyscraper, whatever it is. So that's the value of it. The value of power Depending upon how you wield that power determines its value. If if power allows you to have 10,000 people be willing to die for you, yeah, it's going to be a whole lot more powerful than $1 billion. But you can compare those apples to apples. One person who doesn't hold $1 billion, yet they can get 10,000 people to die for them. Or this person who holds $1 billion and they can only get 5 people to die for them. Perspective. I always say this because I always tell people what I value the most. No, I don't value money that much. Money is not the most important thing in my world. I'm not the richest person. I think if I was more financially apt, I would probably script these a little bit better, make these things more entertaining, make probably my background, whatever it is, a lot better. Truthfully, I don't think I would, but once again, if I had the financial capacity, you can have a team, you can have, special effects editors or not post-production editors or whatever it is, and make a YouTube video very, very pretty. No, that's not the whole point of all of this. The whole point of all this is not to do something normal. That's what everyone else does. People do stupid things or so. They'll blow up watermelons or eat Tide Pods or whatever it is. They're environmentally wasteful. I look at it this way. My conversations, the only thing I waste is a little bit of electricity, upload time, and overall, not a whole lot on my part of wasting anything other than producing a video. Now, the most important thing to me is that I value, the most valuable thing to me is my time. If you lose a very expensive cell phone, let's just say your cell phone costs you $1,500. Okay, you lose it. You lose all the data on it. You lose all the pictures on it. Then what? Well, you can replace your iPhone. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do, but you work a little bit extra. You work really, really hard. You find another job, whatever it is. You can produce the $1,500 to replace your iPhone, and probably by the time you can replace it, there's probably going to be a better one for $1,500 out. So you replace it with something better. Can you replace all the memories? Probably not, unless you uploaded it and saved it to the cloud or whatever it is. You lose time that comes with all of this as well too. But once again, you lose an iPhone, you can always replace it. Money is replaceable otherwise. So anything that has a dollar value to it, I don't really value that much. Time, on the other hand, the reason why I value my time so much is because if you think about it, me spending 30 minutes to make a YouTube video, me willing to have a conversation with somebody for even 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Every time I do something, anything, I look at the value of that time. And the reason why is it has to be worth it to me, because I will never, ever, ever be able to get that time back the moment I use it. So everything I do is not about how much it costs, but the value that it presents to my time. So if you look at your world, everything around you, what should you value? You should value what you do with your time, because if you don't, you waste your time, you never get it back. I tend to always do something productive, something that I enjoy doing with my time. No matter how challenging, frustrating it is, to me, it's always worth it. Now, if you look at the value of my time when it comes to work, so I look at it from this way. Say I have a job, and let's just say the job pays $120,000 a year. Well, how do you look at, is it worth it for you to go to work or not? So let's just look at an hourly wage from $120,000 a year. Hold on. So you go to work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and you make $120,000 a year. And that's all the money you make. Yeah, you can calculate your time out pretty easily with that, but you're not doing it the right way. So what about the rest of your time that you utilize? So if you think about it, let's just say you make $88,000 a year, roughly. What if for a 40-hour a week job, and roughly you're getting paid about what, $40, $40 an hour, $45 an hour, somewhere around there. So your work you value at about $40 or $45 an hour. So the time that's what you're willing to accept for those 40 hours every week. What about when you hang out with your friends, when you do your laundry? Well, if you can go to work and get paid $40 an hour, then technically when you spend 3 hours doing laundry, that's still $40 an hour. Is it worth your time to waste $120 worth of time to do your laundry? So that's how I look at valuing my time. I always look at the value of my time as in allowing me for 6 hours of sleep. So the other 16 hours is the value of my time. So if I were to make $120,000 a year, I don't look at 40 hours a week. I look at the fact that I'm up for 16 hours a day, and I sleep for about 6 hours every day. So you do the sheer math on that. 16 times 7 is let's see, 112 hours a week times 52, and you divide that by 100. You divide $120,000 by that, and you come to find out that I value my time roughly at, on the most part, at about $24 an hour. Then if it's about 120, that would be about $26 an hour if it was $120,000 a year. Now, yeah, I didn't do the math on that, so it's just an example. I'm probably wrong, and if you all want to post the exact number on what the actual calculations is, by all means do it. And I'm not going to delete anything anyone says, good or bad, because truthfully, it's your opinion, and you have every right to it. But that's how I look at the value of my time. So every time I do something, let's just say if I valued it at $25 an hour, it has to be worth at least $25 an hour. Otherwise, this person that I hang out with for 6 hours or 3 hours after I get off of work has to be worth $75 or more. If hanging out with this person, I value him at $20 an hour, I wouldn't do it because it wasn't worth my time. So that's, I know it sounds terrible to say, hey, this person value is only worth $20 an hour. Well, no, it's about the fact that it's enjoyment. If it makes you happy, then it's absolutely worth it. Doing laundry or so, like I said, my place that I send my laundry to is because it costs me less than my $25 an hour. So I have my laundry done by other people so that I can save my time. 6 hours of my time every 2 weeks. Well, if they do it or so, then every 2 weeks it only costs me an hour of my time. I have the other 5 hours to spend doing other things to be more productive. Hell, I can go to work for 5 hours and cover that cost of my laundry a lot better as well too, and have a whole lot of extra. So those things allow you to figure out the value of your time a little bit better. You can never get your time back, so use it wisely. So that's how you have to look at valuing things. Is it powerful? It can be very, very powerful because it allows you to reevaluate everything you do, everything that you decide is worth it, based upon how you choose to value something. Is your time worth it to do this, or this, or this? That's up to you to decide. If you value your time at $10 an hour, then do something that is valued at $10 an hour or more. If you value your time at $100 an hour, you better be doing something that's worth $100 an hour every time you do something. Yeah, hanging out with your coolest friends, probably worth every last penny. Sitting around moping has no value to time. So being angry doesn't help anything, is not productive. So being angry doesn't add any value to time. How long am I willing to be angry or frustrated at anything? About 30 seconds. And the reason why is because because everybody has the right to be angry. It's part of human nature. But in the end, it's not for an hour. It doesn't affect all my other time. If I'm angry for an hour, I'm upset for an hour, it's not good enough value for me. So that's not worth doing. So always look at how you value things around you. People, my mom, my dad, my family, my closest friends. I have value to them. Is it a monetary value? Is it a cash value? No, it's not a cash value. But it is a value to them where I will do what I can to support them and protect them versus a stranger. So yes, if you think about it, would I protect my mom's life over a stranger's life? Absolutely. Do I believe in equality? Yes. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't play favoritism. That's a human nature. You're going to care about yourself more than you care about anyone else. Why? Even if you're willing to give your life up for your mom, you're still going to value your life more because you can't live for somebody else. You can't help somebody value their world. You can only value yours, and because of that, you can only decide what you do with that time and that value you have for your life anyways. So always look at the value, look at the way you observe and have a perspective on the things around you as well as how you look at the actions that you take in your life. I'm sorry, creating a stupid YouTube video or so that's entertaining to the world, that's a one-hit wonder, okay, that's cool, but a good conversation about a topic with a unique perspective, different perspectives, I tend to watch them more because I can grow into a better person. To me, that's something I value, is being better. So that's how I value my time. It has to make me better. It has to make me smarter. It has to help me understand the world better. I've yet to understand watching somebody drop a can on a ball and try to catch it as it bounces back of any value. It's not really that funny. Yeah, it hits people in the wrong places or so. It's not for me. It might be for other people. And that's okay. But that doesn't really add a lot of value to my life or my world. So hopefully you can understand that perspective of valuing your time. Thank you.